Hi, I'm Jack and welcome back to Real Opinions, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mob Psycho 100. And there were kind of three reasons why I wanted to watch this show in the first place. The first reason is that it's by the same author as the very, very popular show from last year, One Punch Man, which I didn't love as much as, but I still very much enjoyed. And the main reason for me enjoying it is also the second reason, which is the amazing animation. And in this series, it's the same key animator from a lot of the big scenes from One Punch Man coming over to this series, and his name is Yoshimichi Kameda, who I'm not a big fanboy for the animation industry, but his name stands out to me as someone to really watch out for and to watch his projects just because he was the key animator on a few of the best scenes in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I believe is one of the best TV shows. He also did some of the key animation on One Punch Man, as I already said, and Space Dandy, which I haven't had the chance to watch yet, but I mean, I know that the animation quality is good from what I've seen. And the main reason I really like his style is that it's rough, but it's not just sketch. It has a very good way of expressing power and movement, and it's kind of fluid, but at the same time jagged. I mean, it sounds like I'm getting a bit too much into the description of it, but it's very kinetic, if that's probably the closest I could try to describe it. It's really satisfying to watch his animation scenes, as that you like, if for instance the scene in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood where it's the main one that everyone focuses on is fire, and it just feels intense just from the way that he's drawing it, and it's very much, I enjoy whatever I've seen him work on. Yeah, and overall, I ended up liking it more than One Punch Man. So I wasn't going into this thinking I was going to enjoy this as much, just because it's very similar. Mob is similar to Saitama, the main character of One Punch Man, in that he's a very bland main character. He's kind of a bit naive, a bit oblivious to everything, but at the same time, he's also set up as the most powerful character in the entire show. In One Punch Man, it was superheroes. In this one, it's psychics and psychic powers. So just hearing the setup, I kind of figured they'd be very similar to One Punch Man, in that every episode we're going to get him facing off against a stronger baddie, a scarier baddie, and then each week there'll be a bit of comedy, and then he solves it in a blink of an eye, and that's it. And while that is enjoyable if it's played off well because it has that comedy, I prefer shows that have a direction, a plot, character arcs, stuff like that. I can find stuff enjoyable. I can definitely find, sitcoms are a thing. I can definitely just get behind a series that just relies on the comedy and the action. But for me to truly enjoy something, I want a bit more. And so I kind of went into the season just expecting a Monster of the Week style thing. However, as it turned out, I didn't realise this, but this is the kind of author's primary work, in that it's the kind of thing that he focuses on, whereas One Punch Man is kind of like a secondary thing that he does for fun. And you can definitely feel it just from this, even from an adaptation of his work, in that right off the bat, there's the characters just kind of stand out more. Whereas in the other series, they are caricatures more than they are characters. In this, like, throughout the season, they kind of have arcs, they have clear reasons for why they are doing this, why they're doing that, what leads them to become the way they are, and it's enjoyable to watch them interact, and they all get better as the series goes on. While I say the characterization was much better in this show, I wasn't on board right from the get-go. It's definitely something that I had to warm up to, and in the end I ended up enjoying these characters way more than any of the characters in One Punch Man, and they've stuck with me much longer as well, as evident by me wanting to review this. Similarly, there's a plot this time around, which I know I shouldn't be excited over the fact that there is a plot, because that's setting the bar very low, but it's not only the fact that it didn't just feel like it was a plot that was shoved in there for the sake of it, in that it felt like it was leading to something, it felt like it was expanding the world, but it wasn't doing it it felt like it was just doing it gradually and in its own pace. And at the same time, the entire, I think it was 12 episode series, it's a very much self-contained story with self-contained arcs and characters and all of that, but it also has the feeling of a first season. I suppose the kind of closest thing I could compare it to that loads of people have watched is Stranger Things, in that sense, in that it's a very self-contained TV show, but if they added a second season, you can see where they left the jumping off points. But I thought the plot was genuinely interesting. I didn't think I was getting that much into it until the second to last episode, where I realised I had one of those realization moments where I'm like, oh, I care about the show a lot more than I thought I did. I wouldn't recommend this show to everyone, but I think if there's something that I've said that intrigues you about it, I'd say it's worth watching. It's worth watching, let alone if you're into animation, which the great animation from One Punch Man continues into this. However, it's kind of hard to... So in One Punch Man, it's very much on character a lot of the time, and it's all action, it's explosions, lasers. And this, it seems like everything's just well animated, like they do character design really fun. It's all fun. It feels like it's just enjoyable to watch, and you can imagine that it was really enjoyable to make as well. And they use different mediums of animation as well. I mean, a lot of people have talked about the end credits, which is all paint on glass, and there's paint included in the series, and it's not just for the occasional reaction shot. Sometimes they play it off within scenes within themselves, and it doesnn't feel like it's okay, they've chucked in another animation thing just to be kooky. It feels like it makes sense, and it feels like it very much works within the aesthetic that they've already established, and I really liked that because it felt like they were having fun and playing with animation. And at the same time, it didn't just feel like they were cobbling everything together in a smorgasbord of look at what we can do. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I'd say that for me, I found it to be like 8 out of 10. And for people that aren't into this kind of typical style thing, into the kind of weird humour of it, I'd say it might come out like a 6 or a 7 if this isn't a thing that you're typically into. But I think that there's a lot to enjoy